It's another rematch for the Kentucky Wildcats tonight, taking on the LSU Tigers for the second time this season. Now, the first time these two teams played each other, LSU did leave with the win, but Kentucky was playing shorthanded. No Robin Benton, no Jasmine Massengill, and now that we've seen this team back at its full strength, we saw it last night in their win against Mississippi State, you can tell how much of an effect a full bench has on this team. 5 different Wildcats scored in double figures over the Bulldogs last night. Well, good afternoon, guys. You're right. Everybody does this differently, and this is the all-important racing form. These are everywhere today as fans continue to get their picks in for the 148th running of the Kentucky Derby. You're done with the regular season, but postseason isn't quite here yet. How do you sort of find the balance between resting the guys that need resting and tweaking those things that you still want to put the finishing touches on before March?
Well, we're going to spend 2 days. There's 2 areas.
One guy who we don't know anything about at the moment is Oscar Shibwe. He talked after the game and said he has not made a decision yet regarding his plans for next season. He said he will sit down with John Calipari and talk to his family in the next couple of days to start to make that decision. Yes, if I look a little windblown right now, it's because I spent the morning on roller coasters here at Fun Spot America with the UK football team. Oh my God. We were standing in the winner's circle as the family and friends of the winner began to celebrate. I actually had the chance to catch up with the trainer's daughter. Here's her reaction to this incredible moment.
I'm in shock. I literally told my friends, I hope he doesn't finish last. We're praying for 9th. Like, please, midfield.
Cal talked after the game yesterday saying, I think if I had my druthers, we'd play 3 guards. This is the lineup that I'm the most comfortable playing. You work with the guards a lot every day in practice. What do you think?
I think we should play 4 guards, but I'm not.
We'll tell him you said that. 4 straight bowl victories. Only Kentucky and Alabama can say that. What does that say about this program?
It says that we still got work to do.
Not only do you have a new offensive coordinator, you also have a new O-line coach, and you're losing 3 guys to the league.
Yeah.
How do you think the line is handling all those changes so far?
I think the guys are taking it in stride.
Kentucky basketball, SEC champions. How does that sound?
It just rings. It comes off the tongue nicely when you say it like that.
Will Levis and Jacob Toppin are here. Will, I want to start with you because you're not from Kentucky, but I think the BBN has really adopted you into this state. You feel like one of our own, and tonight is a really good example of that. What has this whole experience been like for you so far?
It's been great, and like you said, I mean, I've only been here since May, but Kentucky truly does feel like my second home.
It has been absolutely crazy in here today as the Kentucky Wildcats defeat #1 South Carolina, and what a comeback by Kentucky in this one. Down by as many as 15 in the 3rd quarter, but the Wildcats never gave up. They stormed back for a 2-point win over the Gamecocks here in Bridgestone Arena. That makes 10 wins in a row now for the Kentucky Wildcats, your SEC champions, upsetting 3 ranked teams in the last 3 days, all culminating in this SEC title for just the 2nd time in program history. It's first since 1982. Kentucky basketball had its first consensus All-American since Tyler Ulis in 2016 with no real team achievements to show for it. No SEC title and not even a single win in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, and that's the crazy part about college basketball. So often teams and even individual players are remembered for what they do in the postseason.
Great finish.
And during that moment, I talked to Vince Marrow right after the game on the sidelines. I said, how did you feel when you knew it was coming down to the wire like that? He said, honestly, I felt like I was about to pass out. I think Big Blue Nation probably felt the same way. 10 receptions, 170 yards, no touchdown, and it didn't even matter. Still good enough to be the Citrus Bowl MVP. DeAndre, when we talked right after the game, obviously after a huge win, you're clearly in pain. You're trying to celebrate and balance all these emotions. And you still wanted to take a minute to thank Big Blue Nation, even saying that this fan base has helped you become a man. What did you mean by that? How have they helped you do that? All right, I want to let you guys in on a secret, and you guys too. I was at the women's clinic last weekend. Coach Cal had the guys practicing zone. Don't freak out.
Whoa.
But I saw it with my own eyes. Goose, do you think that was just for show, or is Cal really going to play more zone defense this year?
I think he is.
And Kentucky is in for a very unique challenge tonight. We have to talk about Mike Leach and that famous air raid offense, of course. Mississippi State throws the ball right around 57 times per game. That puts them well above everyone else in the SEC, and they move quickly with their offense averaging right around 80 plays per game. That is so different from anyone else Kentucky will play this year. We talk about the air raid a lot. It steals a lot of the headlines, but Mississippi State's defense is being vastly underrated here, and they play a unique style as well. It's known as the 3-3-5 defense. You see it right here. Thanks, guys. And you're right. This is not, though, how you're used to seeing Abby Steiner. But But it's not a mistake. When she first came to UK, she was coming here to play soccer, and she did for her freshman year back in 2018, but she was always fast. UK soccer coach went on record at the time saying Steiner's 40-yard dash time was faster than the majority of Kentucky's men's soccer players. So after just one season, she hung up her soccer jersey to focus on track full-time, and the results speak for themselves.
Maggie Davis joins us now with a preview of her sit-down interview with new assistant coach KT Turner. Maggie?
Thanks, guys. KT Turner has only been in town for about a week, so he hasn't had too much time to familiarize himself with Lexington, with campus, or even with the team itself, but he certainly brings a lot of collegiate coaching experience to the table. Over 20 years, in fact, and the UK basketball program is his third team in the last 3 years as he's continued to move up the ranks. So he knows how this works and that he has to get acclimated quickly. In our sit-down interview this morning, Turner told me he's already hit the ground running, getting to know his new players, his fellow coaches, and he's out on the recruiting trail. Title IX has officially been the law of the land for 50 years, and because of that, about 40 years ago, women's varsity swimming officially came to the University of Kentucky. It wasn't a given. In fact, the club team was first elevated to varsity status after a lawsuit was brought against the university. In talking with members of that original team, one thing was clear: the program wasn't what it is now. They had to fight for pool time and warm-ups. They were looked down upon by other SEC swimmers. They even described themselves as a ragtag group. But it was the camaraderie, the competition, and most of all, the opportunity they remember the most. Ann Berry and Letitia Hollingsworth Gray come from different backgrounds, but ultimately, they landed on the same path.
I showed up on campus knowing absolutely no one, and there was a swim club, so I joined that my freshman year.
It had always been a club team, so I never really thought about swimming at UK. And then that summer, I met some of the men that were swimming on the team and said, hey, it's gonna go varsity.
We knew that something was happening in the university because of Title IX.
When you think back to that time, do you remember what that feeling was like?
Excitement. And for someone like me, it was, could I do this? Could I actually do this? And I could. And I just remember wanting to stay at the pool after that and start practicing right away. We were all walk-ons and of varying degrees of experience, shall we say.
We had the men's handy-down warm-ups. You know, you're like, oh, thank you. It's a little long. Can I hem this to fit me?
Worst possible times to swim at the pool because we had to kind of wedge our way into pool availability.
We were in a 6-lane pool, Memorial Coliseum. It was pretty dark in there, underneath the bleachers where the basketball seats are in the arena. We lifted weights there. It was still an area that would host concerts. I remember practicing to live music, and it was the Police, Pat Benatar. You know, we could hear everything that was going on during the rehearsal, and coaches trying to, come on, let's go, you know, get swimming. And we were like, well, that's the Police. Yeah. We were kind of a ragtag team when we first started out.
Right leg. There it is. Come on, push down. Get it back, Chris. Get it back. Good. Get it back. Yes. Come on. Up. Go.
In 21 days he's done down here, he's done better than 2 years that we were at.
That's because about a month ago, Kentucky football player Chris Oates and his mom, Kim, traveled south to Florida, where he's now working with NeuroFit 360.
It's like a workout gym, like he's used to. They push them. They have all the machines, unbelievable. Like, and you see if you saw the video where he done broke one of them, but.
Hey, you breaking your back.
No, it was removable.
How does the gym in Florida set itself apart from some of the facilities or other gyms and places that you had tried beforehand that maybe weren't quite getting you all the treatment that you needed?
Well, this gym, it doesn't take insurance. That's one of the biggest things. So you're not bound by the insurance rules.
I just thought of the stereotypes that people have of cheerleaders and of federal judges, and they just couldn't be farther apart, right? You probably didn't know whether I was going to bounce down these stairs with pom-poms singing the UK fight song, or walk in seriously in a black robe and pounding a gavel.
Throughout her life, Judge Kaufman has done both. After graduating from UK's College of Law in 1978, she began working as a trial lawyer.
I was a civil rights lawyer. Not until I was a couple of years in did I even have my first Title IX case. It was my very first introduction to discrimination. My partner, I still remember, tossed a file on my desk and said, "Here's a case, it involves Title IX. I don't know what to do with it, will you figure it out?"
That case
set the direction of my career as a civil rights lawyer.
Judge Kaufman was appointed as a United States District Judge for the Eastern and Western Districts of Kentucky. She was sworn in as Kentucky's first female federal judge on October 22, 1993. 14 years later, she was elevated to Chief Judge of the Eastern District of Kentucky. She was also the first woman to hold that position.
Well, you know that cheerleader stereotype, right? Well, you know, sometimes when you just smile and go in all prepared and just smile, people underestimate you.
When Joe B. Hall arrived in Lexington, he was tasked with the impossible: become the head coach of the University of Kentucky men's basketball team and follow a legend while maintaining the standard set by Adolph Rupp in the decades before him. But he found a way to leave his own mark on this town, including a national championship in 1978, 2 additional Final Fours, and becoming a regular right here at Wheeler's Pharmacy. But today and all week, everyone at Wheeler's is saving a spot at the fountain for their friend and honoring him in a way that feels fitting, with a little bit of basketball talk.
They scared me last night.
I don't see how a team could play that bad and still win.
I don't either.
A good breakfast.
3 eggs over easy.
And even better stories.
They said, "Tammy, can we borrow your car?"
Mintz's bonus year also meant he could go through senior day at Rupp Arena for a second time. This time, with his parents standing with him. When you checked out of that game,
checking in for Kentucky is Jacob Tucker.
to hear that last applause, can you even put that into perspective?
No, I can't. Like, my friends back home were calling me. It was like, yo, through the TV, like, we heard them chant your name. Like, they were like, Davion, and like, that was on ESPN, you know? And even as a kid, you dream of playing on ESPN.
Years from now, when you look back to where we are now, the end of the regular season, what do you think you'll remember about this point in the season and this team and this group and what your experience has been like?
This is the highest I've been ranked going into the postseason, so we're a top 5 team in the country. It's a big accomplishment.